We're continuing our coverage here on In Business of states that are deep in debt. Now, Washington State faces a budget shortfall of $2.1 billion for the coming fiscal year. It's already made some tough cuts, and more could be coming. We're joined now by the governor of that state, Christine Gregoire. Welcome to you, Governor. Thanks for joining us today. I know the state of Washington was betting on Washington, the nation's capital, and providing more funding to help with jobless benefits and with Medicare. Have you made any progress in convincing congressional leaders to support your efforts?
Well, you know, it's very discouraging because we haven't as of yet. The House passed it twice. The Senate passed it once. It was in the president's budget. But still, we're getting now down to a time frame where I don't know how much longer I can wait and assume that it will come. So it's putting a lot of stress and strain on our budget, as it is on about 30 states' budgets.
Now, that's about $16 billion in funding that's needed, I believe. On Monday, I've read that you begin furloughs in your state for employees who just won't have to show up to work. If you don't get this kind of funding, how many people will permanently lose their jobs?
Well, for Washington State, it's about $480 million. It's the last 6 months of this biennial budget that we have. And if we took it out totally on layoffs, it would be about 6,400 people. At, of course, a time when we're just now starting to see recovery. It's the last thing that a state wants to do. In fact, my economic advisors tell me that it's possible it could force us into a double-dip recession, as it could other states. So it's very important that we get the UI benefits and that we get the Medicaid match share that the states have banked on.
Now, Washington has stomached some real job cuts from corporate America. You suffered them at Boeing, thousands of jobs cut there. From Microsoft in your home state, they laid off more than 2,000 people. What have you asked of some of the corporations doing business in your state?
You know, we're working hard to get those who've been laid off back to work, and we're just at the cusp of that recovery where we can see some positive economic signs in my state and in the Pacific Northwest. But if we now, facing the budget shortfall that we do, are not able to receive the monies that we were assured we would get by the actions of both the House and the Senate, I fear that that's going to have a direct impact on the private sector as well, because every job that we have is not a job ours alone. It has an impact on the private sector. It has an impact on the nonprofit sector. So for every one of that 6,400, there's a lot of indirect jobs that will be associated with it. So you can see the crisis it puts a state with a population of about 6.5 million in. Imagine what it'll do with $1 billion loss to New York or to California.
Well, Microsoft founder Bill Gates, his dad has been lobbying in your state for an income tax to be rolled out for the highest income people who live there. You don't have an income tax right now. I mean, what are the odds that this is going to be on the ballot in November? I mean, do you foresee this changing?
Well, I think they've got enough signatures, so it will be on the ballot. It's the idea of an income tax in Washington State has always been a negative with regard to our citizens. But this one is tailored a little bit differently. It's tailored so that it only hits high-income earners, and all of the money is dedicated to our K-12 education system, and about a third of it to health care. So right now, in the polling, it looks like there is some receptivity by Washingtonians. So it's a long way between now and November, but I do think voters are more open than they ever have been historically. They know we've got to fund K-12 education. We can't keep cutting in this crisis. We've got to find a long-term sustainable source of funding. And the high-income earners seems to be more acceptable to them than across-the-board state income tax.
Okay. We do have to go, but quickly, yes or no, are you supportive of this?
I am supportive of the people being able to vote for it. That's the big hurdle that we've tried to get through.
All right. Well, we will watch for that vote. Thank you very much, Governor, for making time.